Hey, it's Chris Doucher for GeekNerdNet.com. I'm the 2024 Calgary Expo, and I'm pretty excited, and more than excited, to be sitting here with Dan Slott. Hello, Dan.
Hello.
Hello. You know him from many iterations of Spider-Man. You know him from Doctor Who. You know him from Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer. Oh my God, the list goes on. You know what? I want to talk about. I want to talk about one of your books that I can't wait to read.
Okay.
And I'm not going to start with Spider-Man because everyone does.
All right.
We'll get there. Once Upon a Time Lord.
Okay.
Talk about obviously you're a fan. Talk about your experience putting that together. I did see on your Instagram feed a while back, David Tennant had signed to you. Yeah, so you can get to that or not get to that, but talk just about the work.
Oh, man. Well, no, it was just like a lifetime dream. They're like boxes you want to tick off as a writer when you're writing licensed characters. And like my favorite characters of all time are like Spider-Man, Batman, Doctor Who, and Indiana Jones. That's it. Those are like the big four. That's the...
That's a great route, Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, those are like my favorite fictional characters of all time. I can go out to 10, but those are the top four. I grew up when I was like 7, 8, 9. I saw Doctor Who at my grandma's. We lived on the West Coast and she was on the East Coast. And public television in America, I started with the Tom Baker run. But they would show them all in one night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you would get one night of like an adventure. And that takes stamina because they were really built to be like serialized adventures over weeks. Yeah. And I'd be like a little kid. I would fall asleep. So there are all these Tom Baker stories where I only knew like the first 3/4 of them.
Yeah.
Then this was like pre-VCR.
Right.
And there were some that were so good you stayed awake, like Genesis of the Daleks.
Oh my gosh.
You're like you weren't falling asleep for Genesis of the Daleks.
No.
Little like
because you're also terrified.
Oh yeah. You know, we're with the giant clams under Scarrow for some reason. They're like, what? No, but so like I knew who the Doctor was, and my family that was when I was like a tween, and then when I was a teenager we moved to England. And then I was like, I can watch Doctor Who like live, like when it comes out. Yeah. So I watched the end of the Tom Baker run, and I watched all the way through the Peter Davison run before I like went off to college. Wow. And I like loved Doctor Who. Like being a comic book nerd, you know, you understand continuity. You understand that you're in a universe that has its own rules and its own things and characters, and you want to know about them. And back then this stuff wasn't on, you know, VHS tapes, and they didn't show reruns that often. So to learn the stories, I was going every week to Forbidden Planet comic book shop in London, and I was buying the Target novelizations. And I was starting with like William Hartnell, like An Unearthly Child, and just reading till I caught up to where I was in Doctor Who. Like I would, instead of doing schoolwork, I was like reading 2 or 3 Doctor Who novelizations a week.
Amazing.
And I was just burning through it so I could like, so then like I knew all the lore, I could watch all the shows. And as an adult, it's like the happiest day ever when they did the Russell T Davies relaunch. Yeah. And you're like, Doctor Who's back, and they perfected it. You know, like little things like the psychic paper. Because in all the old Doctor Who stories, he'd show up when the terrible thing is happening, and everyone assumes causation, and he'd always get blamed. Yeah. And then it took for a while for them to trust him, and then you get on with the adventure. The psychic paper cuts to the chase. Hi, I'm John Smith. I'm here to deal with this problem. And you're
so good.
Oh, now we can just jump into the story. Yeah. And they got him down to like, you know, the hour-long format, like you're watching Next Gen or something. Yeah. And it's just perfect thing for Doctor Who. And they nailed it. And I was so happy. And suddenly my thing that was like this TV show that I loved as a kid was now my favorite TV show ever. Once you brought in, you know, David Tennant, and you brought in, you know, Matt Smith, and then Peter Capaldi, and all the way back with, why am I blanking? It's Chris
Eccleston?
Chris Eccleston, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it's every single one of these is golden. I can't wait for the Shutigatwa era to really kick off. It'd always been something I wanted to do, and I would have these horrible moments because I would go back to London for either a con or to visit friends and family, and the guys from Titan would take me out to dinner, and they'd always do the same thing. They'd always go like, "Would you like to do some Doctor Who?" And I'd be like, "I am Marvel exclusive. I cannot work for you. You're evil."
Yeah.
Well, I would kill to do some Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And every time my contract would come up for renegotiation of Marvel, my exclusivity contract, I would go, "Can I have a carve out? So just one issue of Doctor Who. Can I just do one issue of Doctor Who?"
Yeah.
And they kept saying, "No, you like working on Marvel? You're working on Marvel." It would break my heart. And then finally there was one time when we were renegotiating my contract, and a big name creator had just gone to DC, and DC was knocking on my door, and they didn't want both of us going.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Can I have a carve out for Doctor Who to do an issue?" And they were like, "Okay, you can do one issue a year." Then I went to Titan. I was like, "I can do an issue a year. Let's do stuff." And they're like, "How big?" They didn't say how big. Let's do 58 pages. Let's do 60. Let's do a giant issue every year.
Yeah.
So Once Upon a Time Lord I treated it like someone would clamp down and go, "That's it. You just did your one. Get out."
Yeah.
So it really is everything in the kitchen sink kind of story, where it's got callbacks to classic Doctor Who, modern day Russell T Davies era Doctor Who, classic villains, old villains, everything that's wonderful about the Whoniverse, just all crammed into one big ass story, just to get it out of my system. And hopefully we'll keep doing more.
Yeah.
And we now told a story with 10 and a story with 9. Hopefully next one we'll do 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and eventually 15. So
Yes, please do.
I would love to just like one a year. That's make me happy.
Nice. When we were chatting yesterday, yesterday at the show, day 2 of the show, you had told me how your first foray into Marvel Comics reading as a kid was Fantastic Four, right?
Oh, yeah. I had a cousin who collected comics, but the comics he collected were war comics and horror comics. A lot of House of Secrets, House of Mystery, Ghosts. But he also liked Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, and Enemy Ace, and Sergeant Rock. But since he liked Sergeant Fury, he liked Kirby. And since he liked Kirby, the one superhero book he had was FF. And he said, I think you'd like superheroes. And he started me on my first Marvel comic story I ever read was the Galactus trilogy. He started me on those 3 issues. So my entrance into the Marvel Universe was the beginning of Silver Surfer and Galactus.
Incredible. Yeah. And then when you're working with you work with so many iconic characters, how do you find it? I guess obviously you're doing the research, you love the characters too, but to bring a new sort of layer element to these characters, but keep their dynamic of who they are. Do you ever find yourself having to pull yourself back and go, "Oh wait, I can't go too far on these because I love the core of who they are," or I want to explore something else?
I'm hoping I do that naturally.
Yeah.
But also, I don't want to not take a big swing.
Yeah.
You can't just do the stories as is, and then you just do it ba-bump, 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 ba-bump,
Totally.
and then it all starts feeling like Mad Libs.
Yeah.
Every now and then you have to do a big crazy swing and take the character somewhere they've never been before, somewhere they shouldn't be, somewhere that other people have feared to tread, and see how the character deals with it. Should Peter Parker ever be a billionaire? No, he shouldn't. Okay, let's do that.
But as a villain.
No, but let's see what happens to him.
Yeah.
How will Peter Parker deal with that? Knowing full well we can rip it all away from him. Or
his Parker luck is coming in strong on that one.
Yeah. Or how would Peter deal with this in a way that Tony Stark wouldn't?
Right.
Just doing stuff that off the beaten track and see what this does to Spider-Man, what this does to Ben Grimm, what this does to Nora and Red.
Yeah.
You put them in a situation they haven't been in before. And if you do that, yes, there will be a chunk of the internet and fandom that rises up angry because you're not... They showed up every month and they want their mac and cheese.
Yeah.
They want their big... The way I always think about it is like they want their Big Mac.
Yeah.
It's this comfort food, and now you've changed the recipe. Now you've said, "Oh, we've taken Big Mac off the menu. You're getting McRib."
Right.
and you like when we did Superior Spider-Man. Tom Brevoort told me, like, you'll know you won if the second when you bring back Peter Parker, if we start getting all this mail saying, "Oh, come on, I want to see what Doc Ock is going to do."
Nice.
And that happened. That absolutely happened. We got all these people going like, "Yeah, Peter's back, but oh man, I really miss Doc Ock."
Yeah.
And that's when you go, "Well, McRib is off the menu."
If I can jump in for a sec on that, from the fan point of view, when I was reading, the start of that, I'm like, I don't know where this is going to go. Like Superior Spider-Man, like. It's like, oh, and then all of a sudden I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. And then reading through, and I'm loving everything you're doing with the character, 2 characters in one.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god. And then you knew, as a fan, knew it was coming to an end. I'm like, exactly what you just said. I'm like, well, I want more. And then fast forward all these years. I'm going to jump ahead for a second.
Okay.
Fast forward all these years, and here we are with the Superior Spider-Man title. Again, without spoilers.
Sorta. Yeah.
Yes. But I love the dynamic of all of a sudden now 2 characters that were one before are 2 characters trying to act as one. If I'm paraphrasing right.
It's all good. I was given the marching orders. I was given the assignment.
Okay.
We're coming up on the 10th year anniversary of Superior. We want another Superior Spider-Man story from you.
Right.
And my take on it was, I don't want to do the same thing again.
Yeah.
So what it's, oh, you wanted McRib?
Yeah.
Good luck.
There's a different sauce on this one.
Yeah, we've completely, you're not, you don't want to, I don't want to give people, what they want. I want to give them what they need.
Yeah.
And what you need is something different. You need is, you've read Superior Spider-Man. Those books exist, and they're always going to be there for you in your long box.
Yeah.
We suddenly did everything but Superior Spider-Man. Doc Ock's brain is not in Peter's body.
Yeah.
It's Peter dressed as Doc Ock, and Doc Ock is being his little Cyrano de Bergerac.
Which is so fun in itself.
Or Doc Ock and Peter are a buddy team working together to try to achieve something.
Yeah.
Or, at the end of this issue, you've just seen Doc Ock's brain patterns are in everyone in New York's but Peter Parker. And now,
awesome.
We were joking around. We were calling it Superior Spider Island, but the wacky name we wanted to call it is New Ock City.
Oh. Yeah, I want that.
Well, the original name we had for Spider Island was Spider Manhattan. And we were like, no.
Oh.
Don't do that. No.
Oh, damn. Well, you know what? I'm gonna get to the Spider-Boy title in a second, but I want to just say, and this is a conversation you and I had from yesterday. Before you started writing Spider-Man, you met Spider-Man.
Aww.
And he signed your comic.
This story.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Tom Brevoort used to make me tell this story too.
I had to.
Yeah. To be able, because it's how I got into comics.
Yeah.
Where yes, my cousin lent me his FF issues to read, but I never bought comics for myself.
Yeah.
To me, comics were the things that existed in my cousin's basement. And there was one day I was biking home from school, and this is in like suburban California, and I passed the 7-Eleven that I always go into, and they had a big Spider-Man poster on the window saying that Spider-Man was coming to Stockton, California, and he was going to sign comics. And I was the right age to believe this. I was a little Jewish boy who didn't get Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. I was primed for this.
Yeah.
I left my bike on the street. I just ran in, and I was like, Spider-Man is coming here to sign comics. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, where are the comics? How do I get the comics? And they pointed to the spinner rack. And I'd been in that store like a million times, but it just wasn't on my radar. It was like, I can buy comics. They're right there. And I biked home, and I waited for my dad, who had this epically long commute every night from work. The minute he came in, wearied, I just grabbed onto his leg. I'm like riding his pant leg. I'm like, Dad, I need money. I gotta buy comics. I gotta meet Spider-Man. And he said I was old enough to start chores, and I could get a weekly allowance. And since comics cost $0.25, I would get $0.25 each week. And he would give me an advance quarter so I could buy 2 comics for Spider-Man.
Well, that's a hero right there.
Yeah. So I went to that 7-Eleven. Well, the saddest thing in the world is that I wanted to see Spider-Man swing in. I knew Spider-Man. I already loved Spider-Man because the 67 cartoon was on rotation when I'd come home from school. So I was a huge Spider-Man fan, but I never thought of him as in a comic book that I could read. But I totally believed in him. And I had biked there early on the day he was supposed to show, and I had camped out. I was the only one there. And I was looking up in the sky.
It's adorable as hell.
I wanted to see Spider-Man swing in. Yeah. And this was the 70s with like gas shortages and huge lines and people and like epic lines on freeways and highways. Yeah. And I was suddenly realized, like, I'm in suburban California. There's no tall buildings. There's nothing for Spider-Man to swing on to. And how is he going to get here? And this is the moment that really messed me up for life. That they're up on the freeway. These guys had a red pickup. And all these cars were letting them pass, and they're all honking and cheering. And there's one of the guy in the back of the pickup was standing up, arms akimbo in a Spider-Man suit.
Oh, my God.
It was 2 guys in the 70s that had a Spider-Man costume and had to go to a 7-Eleven, and they're just jerking around. They're just like being goofballs up on the freeway. And I could watch. I could see him. Yeah. And he's like weaving through the cars, and everyone's like cheering. And he comes off the freeway, comes off the off-ramp, drives up to the 7-Eleven. I'm the only one there. And I'm just looking in awe and wonder. Of course, this is how Spider-Man would show up in Stockton, California. Yeah. This guy, in this one choice he made, messed me up forever and determined my fate. He leapt out of the back of the pickup truck, landed in a crouch, like a Spider-Man, and then straightened up and walked on right past me into the store as if it was nothing, as if it was just another day. And I was agog. I went in. I had my 2 comics. It was an issue of Marvel Tales where Spider-Man was getting his butt kicked by Electro on the cover, John Romita cover, and Marvel Team Up, I want to say 38, where it was Spider-Man and the Beast versus the Griffin. And he signed both of them, and he signed them Spider-Man.
Amazing.
I couldn't talk. I was gobsmacked. I could not talk. I just kept staring at him. And then eventually it felt awkward, and I left and I went home. And I read those 2 comics so much that within just days, the covers were torn off them. They were just. I have no proof that Spider-Man signed these comics. I still have one of them, the beat up Marvel Tales. I don't know where the 2-in-1 is. I've rebought it over the years a couple of times because it's your first. But I still have the 2-in-1, the Marvel Tales. There was the reprint of the Electro story where Spider-Man goes on a late night talk show and Electro's one of the electricians and he beats him up. And this had a lot of impact on me, not just loving Spider-Man forever and him being my favorite fictional character of all time. Screw you, Hamlet. But it meant the 2 comics I had at the end of the Electro story, Spider-Man needed the money so he was getting this late night talk show to pay for him. At the end, they screwed him. They didn't pay him. Electro had fought him live on air, had ruined his costume, and beaten him up and left. So Electro got everything he wanted. Yeah. He got to beat up Spider-Man live on TV. And Spider-Man didn't get the money he needed. Spider-Man's now in worse shape. He has to fix his costume. And Electro got away. And then in the 2-in-1 story, or the team-up story, Spider-Man couldn't defeat the Griffin alone. The Beast had to help him. So in my mind, Spider-Man could lose,
Yeah.
And Spider-Man couldn't beat the main villain without help. I read, from that point on, Spider-Man was my guy, and I went to that 7-Eleven every damn week. And I used my leftover lunch money or my allowance, and I bought either Spider-Man, Marvel Tales team up, and if I had extra money, I'd buy Detective Comics or Batman or Brave and Bold.
Right.
And I loved the team up books the most, so I also bought 2-in-1 because I knew who the Thing was. So those were my core books that I followed as a little kid.
I love it.
And whenever I read Batman, I knew he was going to win.
Yeah.
I knew Batman was going to win, no matter what. He's Batman.
Yeah.
And if it was a Brave and Bold or a issue where Superman showed up, I know nothing was stopping Superman. And I'd watch Super Friends. I knew, and the Adventures of Superman with George Reeves, and I knew he was Superman. Nothing stopping Superman.
Yeah.
But every issue I read Spider-Man, every time I turned a page, I thought he was going to lose.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him. I was like, oh my God, Spidey, come on. and I try to stay true to that when I write Spider-Man, that I'd much rather have him be on his back heels all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And if he squeaks out a victory, then he pays for it as Peter Parker. Or if he wins as Peter Parker, well, then he's going to be hurting as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because that's, at the end of the day, Spider-Man isn't just the guy who catches that burglar and goes, oh my God, and he's not the lone figure shambling into the night.
Yeah.
He's also that Steve Ditko character who lifts that heavy thing.
Yeah.
He's that Roger Stern character. He will stop the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
He will, every now and then, he will pull something out of his pocket, but it all comes from heart.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from his spider strength or his powers. He's Peter Parker, and he's gonna do that thing because Aunt May needs that medicine.
Yeah. Yep. Every time.
He's got to do that thing. But at the same time, he's wonderfully petty. Oh, he's going to do this thing just to show up J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Just to put him in his place. He's going to do that thing. Or he's going to try really hard, and he's not going to make it in time for that date.
Yeah.
But that's that's when you love him.
Yeah.
And it weirds me out when I see all these fans that keep wanting Spider-Man to win, but to the point where it makes them mad.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it right,
and
you save those big wins for the anniversary issues,
right.
You save it for the peak of that storyline. Mm-hmm. That's when he's going to bust out the way of the spider moves that Shang-Chi taught him.
Amazing.
That's when he's going to get on top of the Empire State Building, and he's going to hook in that brain helmet, and he's going to save everyone in Spider Island. You save that.
Yeah.
And those moments only matter when you write all the other moments where he gets his ass completely kicked. Or it wouldn't be as cool.
Yeah. Aside from Peter Parker, now we have another teenage hero. We have Spider-Boy.
Oh, no. He is not a teenage hero. You get, Peter Parker got his powers when he was 15.
Right.
And Miles Morales got his powers when he was a teenager. Bailey Briggs is 10.
Shit.
And Bailey Briggs has been doing this since he was 7. He's a little kid.
Yeah,
We've never seen a tween. We've never seen that character who's not even a teenager yet with spider powers.
Take my spider card away now.
No. It's all good. That's the fun of him. He's done something during these 3 years where Spider-Man trusted him with web shooters at some point. No, not anymore. You don't get web shooters.
Yeah.
You don't get web shooters, Bailey Briggs. Someday we'll see the incident, the quote-unquote incident.
Nice.
But for now, no. And his powers are kind of wonky in that, Spider-Man's spider sense warns him of danger.
Right.
Silk's spider sense is super highly attuned. Madam Web's spider sense is so attuned she can see into the future.
Yeah.
Bailey Briggs, he will touch something and he will feel its connection to the web of life and destiny. He will touch something and he will get a reading off of it.
That's a powerful kid.
Yeah, but that reading will be of a person who's not him, who's in danger. He senses when Spider-Boy detects when you're in danger, and he's going to save you. Now, he's been spliced with a spider, so he can open up these creepy spider eyes all over the top of his head and the back of his head. and so he can see in 360.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like having a personal spider sense. But at the end of the day, he's more about he's going to save you than save himself.
That's awesome. Any teases for this year coming up that you can tease it?
We have a wonderful issue 7 is going to wrap up our Madame Monstrosity storyline. Issue 8 is a done-in-one with a guest artist, Jason Lowe, that we're all really excited about because there's a Marvel character that never debuted. It was going to be the iconic character of the Marvel puzzle and game book called Fun and Games.
No.
There was a character called Puzzle Man.
No.
And he never debuted. And now he's debuting, or someone connected to him, or someone who's stolen his shtick. The Puzzle Man will debut as a villain. And when you fight him, you must play puzzles and games. And the book itself will have puzzles and games built into the story.
That's awesome.
And that's going to be fun. And all the art for it is gorgeous. Then we have 9 and 10 is a 2-parter where Bailey Briggs's problems began with the end of the Spider-Verse storyline.
Oh, okay.
And a Spider-Verse-y adventure might hold the key to some of his problems. So he is going to be tumbling through the Spider-Verse for 2 issues.
Cool.
Meeting different spiders of different Earths or filling in for them. Nice. So there'll be some fun moments in that. And then when we come back...
Will he meet a doppelganger?
You're going to have to wait and see.
Okay.
There's some weird...
Okay. I shouldn't have asked, but I couldn't help it.
There's weird... Well, he already has a doppelganger of sorts. There's a character called Boy Spider, where Spider-Man has Man Spider. Spider-Boy has Boy Spider,
nice. Yeah.
Who he was spliced, where he's half spider and a half boy. The remaining bits were in a jar, in a drawer, and Madame Monstrosity used them plus some filler to make a character where he's part spider, part boy. She's built a character that is part boy, part spider, but using his genetic material. So he has his own, evil twin, good twin, his own Bizarro of sorts.
His Bort.
His Bort to his Bart is Boy Spider.
Nice.
And we'll see more of Boy Spider too.
Nice. You know what, Dan? We've talked so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice.
Really appreciate you again making time, and go Spidey.
Oh, thank you very
Okay.
much.